Welcome to the Vault Studios Fantasy Football Podcast, your one-stop shop for all fantasy football info. Here are your hosts.
Welcome to the Vault Studio Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, Lewis, and I'm joined, as always, by my guy, Corey. And after a few weeks' absence, we are back in your podcast feed and back in your hearts. Corey, how's it going, man?
I'm good. I mean, I guess the real story is, how are you? I guess if our usual downloaders and listeners, Lewis had a little bit of a medical issue, so that's why we haven't been recording. But how are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm feeling great. I'm on the mend. I feel back to 100%. We were just talking before we started recording. I'm actually going to be going to the gym this afternoon, so looking forward to that. Actually getting a bit of exercise, feeling like a person again. But had a few nights in hospital. Had allergic reactions to some meds, and I tested positive for COVID. Then I got pneumonia, so it's just been one thing after the other. But importantly, healthy, back on the microphone. I'm ready to talk some Week 10 fantasy football. I can't believe it's Week 10. The season's sort of flying by, but it also feels like, I don't know, like it's really dragging on. This season's been really hard. It's just been a little mentally taxing for me. There's been so many injuries. Still having to think about the players and COVID, and it's still all anyone wants to talk about. It's just exhausting. I do feel a bit better about it, although I feel invigorated for like the playoff push that we've got coming up. Some leagues are just absolutely, lost causes at this point with all the injuries that have racked up. But others, we're still in there with a fighting chance. We're making trades, or we're building towards next year in some dynasties. How are you feeling about the season?
Yeah, I feel a little bit of the same. Like it feels like it's been a really long season already. I think it's a little bit, I don't know. I think social media plays a part of that. I mean, obviously, us being on social media always, either creating fantasy content or talking about fantasy football, talking about football 24/7, basically, year round. It kind of feels that way. I mean, even the best in the business, like, take a couple months off there in the summer months, but us grinders, like we're out there in June and July, being like, pick up this player. Hot name.
I've got this take, which is going to be completely useless and pointless.
Right. So there's a lot of that going on. I think if you're paying attention to fantasy year round, it does feel like a little bit of a long season right now. But I think for those teams that are coming across into the playoffs, you get a little bit reinvigorated when you see how many fruits you get at the end of fruits or whatever you're playing for at the end of the season. So that kind of re-energizes you as well. So yeah, I'm just happy to have the pod back, and we're back at it, and we'll try to help you guys get some wins.
Absolutely. There has been quite a couple of big news items really in the last couple of days. The NFL news cycle has been dominated by Odell Beckham Jr. Where's he going to land? Which team? We had the decision, narrowed it down to Green Bay and Los Angeles Rams, and it is official. Odell Beckham Jr. has signed a 1-year. I don't know why they call it a 1-year contract. It's a half-year contract. We're halfway through the season, right? If they make the playoffs, it's like a half-year contract. Anyway, Odell Beckham Jr. has signed with the Rams, and they continue to build the blocks of this super team on both sides of the football. They brought Von Miller over from the Denver Broncos. He hasn't played for them yet, bit of an ankle injury. I think he's going to be good to go this week. And Odell Beckham Jr. So let's dive into this from a fantasy perspective. Obviously, it hasn't worked out for Odell in Cleveland for a myriad of reasons. I don't think he's a bad player. And quite frankly, I'm sick and tired of just lazy bullshit analysis or dumb fans on Facebook saying all Odell Beckham Jr. has ever done is make that one spectacular catch and he's done nothing. In New York, he was one of the best receivers in the NFL. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler. He had a good, if not great, first season in Cleveland. And he's had bad injuries. He had the abdominal injury, he had the ACL. He's just not been able to get that timing down with Baker Mayfield. It's just not worked out for him. It happens. I still think he's got a little bit of juice left. Certainly the Rams must think he's got some juice left to bring him in and risk upsetting the balance of the offense they've got there. I still think he's an excellent player. I do want to go and dive into how he's been charted this year by Matt Harmon and his reception perception, but certainly in his sample size in Cleveland, up until this season, it was showing that he was still a very good receiver. He was still getting open. It's just his number wasn't being called for whatever reason. So what are your takes on this from a fantasy perspective?
Yeah, from a fantasy perspective, I mean, I think it's a better situation than he actually had in Cleveland, just because of the way the offense runs. Obviously he's not the first option. He's probably not the second. He's probably not the third. But still feels like he's going to be used in a more productive manner than he ever was in Cleveland. So, other than the first year, but obviously this year, they just weren't using him very much at all. Like that offense, actually looks better without OBJ. Fair enough, but I think that's just because they don't have to rely on that type of alpha kind of receiver. I heard about this. I think it was Trent Dilfer was talking about having an alpha wide receiver. That there's two different types of alphas. There's the alpha receiver that just does everything. He's a matchup nightmare. Just comes in ho-hum, just dominates, day in, day out. And then there's the alpha receivers that need to be peppered with targets and things like that. You have to feed them or they become like malcontents, basically. Mm-hmm. But and OBJ probably is in that second group. And it's like that, that person you always have to coddle and be like, yeah, you're good. Here, have a treat.
Right. Yeah.
Have that. So, if you're not generating 4 or 5 targets for him just in an offense and then, getting a couple more throughout the game, I think he just kind of checks out and just, gets kind of upset about that. But yeah, I think, the situation is good for him. If you have him in Dynasty, obviously, this is the time. I've seen a lot of people that saying now's the time to sell on OBJ. You're not going to get anything of value.
Right. If you think all of a sudden you're going to get a future first round pick, it ain't happening, right? All of a sudden, just because you've decided that now's the time to sell high, what does that even mean? Quantify that. Now, unless I'm a sure thing contender, and if someone's going to give me a future second, I'd probably cash out on OBJ at this point. But the reality is, it'd have to be a projected high second on a team that's not really going anywhere. He's still really young relative for NFL wide receivers, and he's got a game that's going to translate well as he ages. That short area type game, you can see him playing well out of the slot. It's a 1-year deal. Whether he'll extend to stay in Los Angeles, who knows? They don't have any draft picks, so they're probably going to look to. But he's made a lot of money at this point in his career. Maybe he'll look elsewhere for one more payday. But this idea, as soon as someone sells, the wisdom of the crowds or the wisdom of the analyst on Twitter, you got to sell high. You got to. What does that mean? Bring me something to the table. But the reality is, Odell Beckham Jr. just got in a better situation for your roster now than he was in Cleveland. I think he sits as a wide receiver 3, somewhere in that weekly rank 30 to 36. It's great for Matt. It's great for Matt Stafford, right?
Sadness.
What's that?
The wide receiver 3 of infinite sadness.
Right. It's kind of in that range, but if he gets 4 to 5 targets a game, some games will pop off and be good. This basically buries Van Jefferson, pull one out, and it's a little downgrade for Robert Woods, Cooper Kupp, whatever. He's still the wide receiver 1. That's not going to change. But they want someone to take the top off the defense, I think, and Beckham can do that. They had Deshaun Jackson. It just didn't work out. He wasn't able to get out there and deliver what they wanted, and they've basically
he wanted out. He asked to leave.
He wanted out, but also I just don't think he had the juice left that was working for them But I think maybe Odell can do that. But this is great for Matthew Stafford. Although, how much higher can you move him up? Right, he's already the quarterback 3. But I guess this just insulates his value a little bit more. So if you drafted Stafford, congratulations. Maybe a bit of a downtick for Woods. Completely caps any chance of an ascendancy for Tyler Higbee to really like pop off. I think he's got like a 14% target share. No, sorry, the tight ends have got a 14% target share, which is quite low for Sean McVay offenses. So I think this is as good as landing spot as any. People are saying Green Bay might have been better. We've seen everyone fail at trying to be the secondary pass catcher in Green Bay. We have no reason really to think that would have worked out. This is as good as you could have hoped for, attaching him to one of the best fantasy quarterbacks at the moment. The team's throwing the ball a lot, so what can you do? This is probably as good a news as you could have hoped for. And if you drafted Odell, you obviously aren't playing him this week. Let's wait and see how that first week usage pans out and what the Rams have in store for him as we move towards the fantasy playoffs. But given how many injuries there are, how thin the fantasy positions are from pretty much everywhere at the moment, you might have been handed a lifeline come the fantasy playoffs with Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah, for sure.
Cam Newton is back. He is he's signed with the Panthers, so goes back to his home in Carolina. I hope he didn't sell his house. Because that was probably be pretty inconvenient if he did. Tell you what, man, the life of an NFL quarterback. He's been sat on the street waiting to get signed, and they've just given him up to $10 million, $4.5 million guaranteed. Like what? He hasn't played. And they're just like, here, man, have $4.5 million guaranteed. What a life. Can I have $4.5 million guaranteed?
Right. And I think he was still getting money. I think he was still getting money from the Patriots.
He was still getting, I think he's still getting money from the Patriots.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he had guaranteed money in that contract. So congrats, I guess.
Yeah, good for him. Get the bag.
I listened a little bit to the Matt Rule press conference today, and they were talking about Cam and things like that. But he really didn't have anything to elaborate on other than that they think Cam has some juice left, and situations. It is what it is. And they were asking him about PJ Walker, obviously who's going to be the starter this week, and he said that he's going to be the starter this week. Sam Darnold's going on IR. Sam's obviously his main thing is to get healthy. Cam comes in, he's got to learn the verbiage, the playbook, things like that. So then they'll see where they're at. He's like, I can't really comment on the future of the quarterback position when I haven't even seen him practice yet. So
right.
Like a lot of stuff still to fall into place, but I still think he starts, by the time the season ends. And it might be next week.
Yeah. I mean, good for PJ Walker getting this opportunity. I'd love to see him thrive. I have him stashed in a couple of Superflex leagues. He's got that upside that you look for. He's got a live arm. He's got rushing ability. He's athletic. I just don't think he's got what it takes to be an NFL quarterback, but I'd still love to see him play well. So the Panthers obviously still think they can do something. They're 4-5 in the NFC South, tied with the Falcons.
They're not out of it.
They're not out of it, right? And so they wouldn't be bringing in Cam at this kind of money if they didn't think that he can give him a chance to win. It's not worked out with Sam Darnold. I think they took up his option as well. So I think they might be looking at how to get out of the Sam Darnold sweepstakes next year, and could be a team looking for another quarterback. But let's be realistic about what this is. This is a shop window for Cam to show that he's healthy and ready to go. And this is the Panthers trying to squeeze the last juice out of Cam Newton that they possibly can to try and drag themselves into a wild card spot for the playoffs, because the roster's got quite a lot of talent on it. If not, it's all, injuries aside. So if they can get healthy and Cam can help them win a couple of games, I think he's probably an upgrade on Darnold, given what we've seen from Sam Darnold. Why not? It makes sense for everyone involved. Good for Cam for getting the bag. in terms of fantasy, we know what it's going to be for Christian McCaffrey. This is an upgrade for Cam on his weapons. My concerns for CMC is goal line usage, but his receiving game work and just his volume is so locked anyway. It's only a slight ding to his ceiling, but his floor is astronomically high. So I'm not really concerned about that. And hopefully Cam's shoulder is good, and we'll get some action with DJ Moore. So I think it's probably the end for Robbie Anderson.
Unfortunately, after his $49 million contract or whatever it was.
Fucking hell, what were they thinking? It's an organization that likes to burn money. Tell you what, no one likes wasting money like rich people, huh?
I guess. I mean, yeah, it looks bad now.
Looks real bad. Another bit of news. Oh, but sorry, before we do that, like, do you think Cam Newton's like a top 12 quarterback once he starts?
No, I don't.
I think he's like QB. I think he's like a high-end QB2 with that like weekly upside. If he scores 2 rushing touchdowns, he gets in and goes the way that he might. But I think he's probably like QB16, QB18 in that range.
Yeah, and I think, cue up all the articles when Matt Rule took over about his spread offense and running option, and I think he's actually suited for this offense. I mean, Sam Darnold was out there leading the league in rushing touchdowns. So
right.
For the first 5 weeks of the year. So I actually think he's really suited for this offense. What that means, like I'll have to take some time. But obviously, if you have him in Superflex, you're happy. I got him in a couple of Superflex leagues where I just have held on. Like sooner or later you'll get a job, right?
Yeah,
right?
I've got him in one competitor where I need a good QB3, so I'm set there, and then another total rebuild where I've just been hanging on. So hopefully someone's interested in giving me a second round pick for Cam. I think, and I can finally get out of the Cam Newton sweepstakes in that league. David Bakhtiari has been activated from PUP list, and I think they're going to make a decision when he's going to start this week, depending on how he practices. If not this week, probably the week after. This is just great news for Aaron Jones, the Green Bay Packers offense in general, one of the best, if not the best left tackle in football. It also helps reshuffle the line and get some of the other players back into their natural positions at guard and on the other side of the line there. So great for them. I think that's good for Aaron Jones, who has been losing some work for A.J. Dillon. It's good for A.J. Dillon as well. And it's good for Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, because the longer they can keep him upright, ain't nobody covering Devontae Adams for more than 3 seconds. So, that's great for the continuing feeding of targets going his way. CEH is looking okay according to the coaching staff there.
He said that he was looking amazing. I think
amazing. All righty. Well, has he been activated off IR yet?
I think he was.
He's in the win. Is he in the window?
He's closer. He is closer to returning, but we'll have to see how Tom handles it here in the next couple of weeks.
All right, so we'll wait and see. I'm not going to hold my breath. But if you do get CEH back for the playoffs, that'd be good news for you. Although hopefully the Chiefs can figure out what the hell's going on with the offense, because Patrick Mahomes is just breaking people's hearts right now.
I hate to see it.
Anything else you want to talk about in the news before we dive into these games? Rapid fire?
Not really. I mean, there's a plethora of running backs. Well, I'm sure we'll hit them when we go through these games. That are just all over the place. So I'll just quickly mention them. Obviously, like Zach Moss is in concussion protocol, Damian Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, Alvin Kamara is slightly banged up, Nick Chubb's got COVID, Chase Edmonds has a high ankle sprain. Like, there's all kinds of stuff. And then we got you got Christian McCaffrey, who's coming back. This will be his second week back now. David Montgomery came back last week. So it's all happening fast and furious. Make sure you stay posted.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's dive into these games. I'm sure you know already because you've been setting your lineups, but the Bears which is good for David Montgomery coming back and getting a week's rest. The Bengals, the Texans, and the Giants, likewise with Saquon Barkley, are all on bye. Look forward to getting some of those skill positions back going into week 11. I think Saquon Barkley was close to coming back, and then he got COVID, and then they decided to chill. So with the bye week, so hopefully he's good to go, and we can have Saquon back for the stretch here coming into week 11 for a playoff push. But let's start with the Titans versus the Saints. Titans are a good football team, so they've been frisky. As of the New Orleans Saints, well-coached team, they signed Adrian Peterson, who I think probably foolishly made the decision to pass on Dancing with the Stars to come and play football with the Titans. I actually think he would have made more money doing Dancing with the Stars, I'm sure. But he's got to eke out every last rushing yard he can. He was very ineffective, although he did get in the end zone. They've also brought in Deontay Foreman, which I guess if you're really desperate at running back and he's someone that's on the waiver wire there, you might be able to pick him up, or even Jeremy McNichols, who seems to be the 2-minute drill receiving back. So depending on the game script, you might get something out of him. But really, it's all pretty gross outside of Tannehill, AJ Brown. I think Julio is probably trending up a bit more in the right direction, especially if they get into a bit more of a shootout. What are you thinking for this game?
I hate this game.
It's not good.
I hate all the fantasy options. There's no one on the Saints you really like at receiver. Running back now is all muddied up with Kamara. I guess you're playing Mark Ingram if you have him. If you're in a pinch,
yeah, he's got usage. He's got a lot of usage.
Montgomery all on bye. So looks like Ingram's a play here. Obviously, the Titans, you got to play AJ Brown, even though I hate this matchup against Lattimore. Julio Jones, you probably have a better option, but it feels like if Lattimore is out there and he's on AJ Brown, someone's got to catch the ball. It's not going to be these secondary guys. It's not going to be Chester Rogers. You would think so. Julio might.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, you would think, but I kind of like Julio in this spot, weirdly, but yeah, this game is gross.
Michael Pruitt season, let's go.
Yeah.
It's not a great game. Taysom Hill's a fine quarterback play if he ends up getting named the starter. I still don't even know if the Saints know what they're doing at quarterback. But have they named someone? I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, it's still Simeon. I'm pretty sure.
It's okay. They're going to go with Simeon. All right. Well, yeah.
Simeon's your league slight below average quarterback.
Yeah,
he's been okay. He's been
fine.
Yeah, but he's not great.
Yeah. Jets versus Bills, AFC East rivalry game here. Elijah Moore finally had his big blow up breakout game last week.
Love it.
Absolutely love it. And then he draws one of the worst possible matchups in a bounce back spot, or a follow up spot rather, with Tre'Davious White. The Bills are very stingy, bottom 5 against opposing wide receivers. You probably do have a better option. It's going to be hard to look at that and go, I played Elijah Moore in a few games. I got lucky, right? I was desperate and got Elijah Moore in a blow up spot. But I'm probably not playing him this week. I've got a wide receiver, got a few better options. But at the running back position, you got to play Michael Carter, hoping for some of those dump off passes from Mike White. And in superflex leagues, deeper superflex leagues, I think Mike White is in play here.
Can Mike White just play the whole game, please? I mean,
I know. That would be good.
I was on Michael Carter receptions last week, and then Mike White, of course, gets hurt, and he ends up with 3.
What was his line? 3.5?
Yeah. I was either on receptions or on his yards. I think I was on his yards. It was like 37, and he had one.
You're going to get those dump offs.
37 yards. He had one catch for 37 yards.
Yeah, you're going to get those dump offs from Mike White. So
I mean, he was targeting running backs at an extremely high rate. I mean, if you're super desperate, you're in a deep league. I mean, Ty Johnson's even playable in situations with him.
Right.
Elijah Moore, love to see it. Like, I was on Elijah Moore over Rondale Moore for this reason. I just think he's more of your normal wide receiver.
Well, he has alpha upside.
Yeah, and I just think Rondale's a bit gimmicky, but at the same time, I really like Elijah Moore. But yeah, this spot is terrible. The Bills haven't given up like a huge play in the passing game. I think they've given up 2 the whole year, and both of them were fluky. Like one came off a helmet, and another one was like tip ball, and so it's been nasty. So I expect them to throw underneath. So Jamison Crowder to the moon in this one, and the running backs.
Yeah. I love that. On the Bills side, obviously, you mentioned Zach Moss in the concussion protocol. Devin Singletary would be a fine play here. In a soft matchup against the New York Jets. Next game, Steelers versus Lions. Chase Claypool is out. He's week to week. This is going to be a monstrous blow-up spot for Deontay Johnson. I mean, he has the wide receiver 1 upside this week, I think, with just the volume that's going to come his way, soft matchup. This is a great spot for Deontay Johnson.
I mean, I thought last week was supposed to be a great spot for Deontay Johnson, and it was a great spot. It just didn't happen. I didn't really like anything that happened with Big Ben in that offense. I just feel like when you play against the Steelers, you're just automatically going to be in a rock fight, and I don't really see that changing in this game. Obviously, the Detroit Lions, they've played tough. They've taken the Ravens to the brink. I mean, obviously, we saw the Ravens lose last night, but
right. In retrospect, how impressive is that actually?
But I mean, all their games except for the Eagles game, which is weird, have been fairly close to some extent. I mean, they've played tough, but this defense is absolutely horrendous. All the numbers say that, and this obviously looks like a great spot for Deontay Johnson, Najee Harris, Freiermuth. I mean, James Washington might even be something in this game. It'll be interesting if Ben can actually throw for more than 120 yards.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for. Yeah, I know, like 120 feels about right at this point. Yeah, that's what we're hoping for. And obviously, you're playing your Lions running backs and Hawkinson, but that's it from that side. Colts Jags. Fucking James Robinson killed me last week, man. I was able to get him out of some lineups late, and then one I totally forgot about in a dynasty league that I'm doing well in, and I lost the matchup by like 3 points with James Robinson sat there as my running back 2 and a bunch of points on my bench. I think like Devontae Freeman, someone else is there. Just whoever I would have put into the spot would have won me the matchup. So that was annoying, and I was still scattered all over the place trying to focus on what was going on. The point being that if Robinson's healthy, you're playing Robinson and you're not playing Hyde. If you manage to scoop up Hyde and Robinson sits again, feel okay about playing Hyde. Like, he's playable. He's going to get that sort of workload that you feel good about. How efficient he's going to be, that's a different story. But if Robinson's out, you can lean on Hyde in your running back 2 spot there.
Yeah, I agree. On the Colts side, I mean, you're looking at your usual suspects. You got JT, Michael Pittman. That's about it. Wentz in super flex.
I'm playing Wentz in some deeper one quarterback leagues this week. He's got that dad narrative as well. He's about to have a kid, so he's going to be feeling virile and like a man, just slinging tutties all over for his newborn baby if that comes through. So I'm buying the new dad narrative with Carson Wentz in this soft matchup against the Jags here. The
receiver position for the Jags is really interesting right now. Dan Arnold's kind of took an uptick the last couple of weeks. Isco's kind of taking a step back. And then there was Jamal Agnew, who's just been catching balls everywhere for like 5 for 39 yards.
Right. And he has that little bit of juice. If he gets a crease, he could take one to the house as well.
Type guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's worse guys than you can you can squeeze into your lineup than Agnew, I suppose.
Right. I do think this is an interesting week for Visca. I think he bounces back in this one. They realize that they have to get him going, him and Marvin Jones. Obviously, Marvin Jones is a little bit older. Visca's the younger player there. But they need to use him like they're using Agnew, really, for him to be productive. Like, he's a lot bigger guy, maybe just as fast.
Hey, Urban, see that? Copy, paste.
Yeah, just move him over here. Okay, good. So I do like this spot for Visca against this Colts defense, who was listening to the Sharp podcast, and they do give stuff intermediate down the field, short and intermediate. So I think he could get going here. I mean, and by get going, I mean like five or six catches for 60, 70 yards.
Right. We're not talking 10, 180 and 2 tutties here. We're not talking vintage Julio get going.
Plug him into your DFS lineup right now. But I do think he's in a spot where he can at least help you not suck this week.
Right. Yeah, I definitely don't disagree with that. I do like the Dan Arnold call, and obviously you're playing Michael Pittman as well. Washington football team, Buccaneers. This is a brutal matchup for Antonio Gibson. I'm going to be sitting him, right? You just cannot run the football against Tampa Bay, and his involvement in the passing game is basically just non-existent to your boy JD McKissick. I don't do weekly rankings, so unless it's your full-time job and you're doing it for ESPN or something, to me there's nothing more futile than doing weekly fantasy football rankings. Show me a bigger waste of time, unless you're doing it to try and win the rankings competition on Fantasy Pros or whichever, which is.
But then like I've heard many people talk about, like, even if you're trying to do that, like, you're not really ranking the players like where you think they are. Like, you'd be ranking like the players like closer together, and it's not really like you're trying to game the system. You're not actually.
You're right. It's not actionable rankings either. So fine, book it plays into tiers if you want, but the reality is there's millions of websites out there doing rankings and tiers and all this kind of stuff that it's just a futile exercise. However, if I were to be ranking running backs, I would have JD McKissick ahead of Antonio Gibson this week. Like, I feel pretty good about that call, given what the likelihood of this game script shaking out the way. The defense sucks. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are coming off a bad loss, going into a bye week. Would it surprise you if Tom Brady came out? I can't believe Tom Brady is the QB1, by the way, on a points per game and overall basis. Like, it's just absolutely wild that he's the QB1. And he could come out this week and throw 6 touchdown passes and no one will bat an eye.
Yeah, I'm sad right now because I didn't play Tom Brady over Lamar Jackson this week.
Oh, no.
I have both of them in a one quarterback.
Oh, no. I mean, QB1, QB2, like, you're pretty happy, like, if you had both those guys, but it didn't work out this week for Lamar. So typically Brady will probably have like 40 points this week.
Yeah, he definitely will. So Brady in DFS, by the way.
Play Brady in DFS. Look forward to that.
He's blowing up.
Yeah, obviously you're playing your, Godwin, Evans, all kind of that. Terry McLaurin, Ricky Seals-Jones. If you're desperate, I think he's.
I've seen a lot of people drop him. I don't know if people thought Logan Thomas was going to be back, but I think he's still a little bit
still
off.
On IR and he's dealing with hammy. Like, don't drop Ricky Seals-Jones. Like, they need pass catches, and tight ends a gross position. And you're playing Gronk as well if he's going to be full go, because I think in week 8 before the bye, he was out there, but it was more of a decoy situation, and then he got banged up anyway and sat out. But I think he's going to be good to go. He's been working with trainers and such. So if Gronk is full bore, then you're playing Gronk.
Yeah.
Cowboys Falcons, the Deion Sanders Bowl, as I like to call it. And I just traded for Zeke Elliott in a league, and I feel really good about it. In the FF Down Under Invitational, someone sent me DeAndre Swift and Kadarius Toney for the Cowboys, and I went for Zeke Elliott. I looked at the Cowboys rushing schedule for the rest of the season? I went, yes, I'll have some of that. Thank you. Thanks to our friends over at Sharp Football Stats and the awesome tools they have over there. What do you think on that trade?
Yeah, I don't hate it.
I got freaked out. I got freaked out on Swift, man. Like, obviously he's there in the pass catching, but he's not being good running the football. Ian Hartitz like spooked the shit out of me. I was listening to him, the PFF Fantasy podcast. He's like, DeAndre Swift is just like stone bottom in so many rushing metrics, and the offense just isn't good. Fine, he's going to get there, maybe some passing work, but Jamal Williams has been a good runner of the football, and yeah, I was like, you know what? Get me into that Zeke Elliott game.
Don't be too scared. Don't be too scared.
That's not like long term. I'm talking like, I don't think he's a bad running back. I just like give me that soft running back schedule. Give me the Dallas offense. I think gets in a bounce back spot here against the Falcons.
We're talking redraft here.
Yeah. Redraft, of course. The invitational. Yeah. And then the other thing I would say here is, Olamide Zaccheaus had a big game last week, 2 touchdowns, but I think that's very much an outlier.
Russell Gage is my guy.
Russell Gage season. The Falcons play a lot of 2 tight end and 2 running back sets with Cordero Patterson and Mike Davis, both stuck in the poor Mike, just stuck in the timeshare. They're splitting the backfield carries, and Davis just not really getting the looks in the passing game. So that's a problem for him. What are you looking for in this game? Is there anything you really want?
There was a breakdown on Warren Sharp's podcast on this game, and they were talking about it in depth. And the thing about the Falcons defense, AJ Terrell has been very good this year, but there's just so many options on this Dallas Cowboys offense that it really doesn't matter.
Right.
But they did talk about how they expect Atlanta to score some points in this game as well. So, I know Dallas's defense, I think they're number 1 in takeaways still. They've been very good, especially in the beginning of the year at that. But I do expect this Atlanta Falcons offense, which is actually looked pretty solid last few weeks.
Right.
It's a professional outlet. Matt Ryan's not a scrub. He knows what he's doing. It's just like a weird collection of weapons here. So I do expect. I'm starting my Falcons, so I'm not scared of starting. Russell Gage. He had 8 targets last week. You're obviously starting Cordero Patterson. You're starting Kyle Pitts. You're starting everyone in this game, I think, other than Mike Davis. I'm not starting Mike Davis. If I can,
if you can avoid it, don't play Mike Davis. But
everyone else I'm playing.
Yeah. I tend to be in agreement. Cardinals, Panthers. Hopefully, we get Kyler Murray back. He's seemingly good to go. Get DeAndre Hopkins back. But really, the big talking point out of this is, James Conner running back 1 season with Chase Edmonds' high ankle injury. What we've all been waiting for, right? You know what? I really hope James Conner parlays this into another contract, maybe with the Cardinals or whatever, and because he's playing for $1 million this year. It's not a lot of money. He's young. He's obviously got the great story, and he's got 11 touchdowns so far. Leads the NFL. Just ridiculous. And the usage is going to be there. Now, I don't necessarily expect him to get that same crazy volume he was getting once Edmonds went out, because they activate another running back and they can distribute the touches a bit better. But James Conner's going to get the bulk of the touches here in a matchup that's not scaring you at the moment against the Panthers. And if things don't go well for PJ Walker, which, they might not, this could be a lot of Arizona Cardinals having the football, wearing down that defense, them getting tired. And, yes, he's outperforming in the expected touchdowns column here. But if you were to say, give me odds on will James Conner score a touchdown this week, I'm going to take yes. I think that he's more likely than not that he gets in the end zone this week, and you can see him easily finishing inside the top 12 at the position.
Definitely. Against this Carolina Panthers defense, they're currently ranked 24th against the run, and running backs have been very successful against them all season long. So I definitely think you're rolling with James Conner, and just being very happy with the outcomes of that. So I could see James Conner have another smash spot here. I think, similar like the Cowboys were super successful again. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott ran for 143 yards against this defense. Dalvin Cook ran for 140. Week 9, the Patriots ran for 146 combined with, 3 different guys, running the ball all over these guys. So I really think they can be successful running the ball. I don't know if Murray's going to play. Even if he doesn't play, I mean, that even helps James Conner even more. So, I think this is a great spot for him.
Yep. With you there. Chargers versus Vikings. This could be a fun game, man. I'm looking forward to this one. My big takeaway is just hold the line with Mike Williams. He's been getting the targets. He's been, getting the snaps, 90 and 83% in the last couple of weeks, 5 targets a game. Just sort of hasn't panned out for him, but 5 to 6 targets and a couple of big plays from Mike Williams. He could get in the end zone. Going against the Vikings here, have given up the 6th most fantasy points per game to opposing wide receivers. It's going to be okay with Mike Williams. Obviously, Keenan Allen had his huge game last week, but both, Keenan Allen can still have a big game and Mike Williams can get his. I'm not concerned about this matchup. His peripherals are there. Feel good about playing Mike Williams despite a couple of fallow weeks here.
Yeah, for sure. I can see that. It's tough with this Vikings offense. I think you need to hold the line with, Adam Thielen and things like that. I think Adam Thielen's an interesting buy as we get into, the trade deadline. This is the time when, the Vikings are going to start needing to pass the ball more. And there's been many articles and reviews done on this Vikings offense, and they're actually really good on first down when they throw the ball. They're really good on third down when they throw the ball. They are not so good on second down when they throw the ball. And I think that's coming from their lack of aggressiveness on first down, where they just won't throw the ball. They tend to run the ball unless they're down. And you notice that when they are down, like this offense starts going all over the place, and they're, it's humming along. Like I don't understand. Like I don't understand sometimes with the NFL coaches, like all this information is out there, showing you this data, and you're just like, we're just going to run the ball.
We're just going to run the ball. Yards. You don't play football on a spreadsheet, Corey.
Awesome. 2nd and 8, and then we're going to run this screen pass, and now it's third and 9. Awesome.
Great. Awesome. I get, we should probably mention here as well, we don't know the situation around Dalvin Cook's availability. I'm going to be honest, I haven't sort of dived into everything that's going on and sort of read all the articles and done enough due diligence on the situation. You have? Okay. So
because the situation happened in my hometown.
Wow. Okay. So maybe do you want to give us a 30-second précis and sort of what's going on here?
Sounds like a weird kind of situation there where he was dating a police officer or something. They had some kind of relationship, and she obviously didn't like the way things were going. He's saying that she came trespassed into his house there was a girl there already and there was 2 other guys there as well, and kind of held them up basically, and was threatening. And then there was they pushed her over and she cutting her nose or something. But that's all, very sketchy, and the details we have no idea. She's claiming otherwise, and so it's a very interesting situation of people in power and people not in power, and situations that I have no idea about, but it all happened in my hometown of Inver Grove Heights, Minnesota. So there you go.
There you go, putting it on the map. Okay. So as far as
sounds like you'll be playing for now.
Right. Okay. There we go. So, but if you got Mattison, hang on to him like he's made of gold, because this is obviously a movable situation. But we've talked about Mattison probably being the most valuable handcuff in football, because he just slides right into that Dalvin Cook role and just gets all of the work. Packers Seahawks. Russ Wilson is back. Apparently, he's looking 100% good to go. This is great if you have Tyler Lockett. You can feel good about playing him again. He has that mind meld with Russell Wilson. Wouldn't surprise me at all to see Russ want to get this team humming and going. And I think the Packers can score points with assuming Aaron Rodgers is back with Devontae Adams. I think he can.
A big if.
A big if. Yeah. So I guess if he's back, but either way, I think Russ is going to hone in on Tyler Lockett and get going with his guy here, make up for some lost time. So I really, really like Tyler Lockett this week. It could be, could be a top 12 week for Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, and it sounds like Chris Carson is trying to make his way back as well. He's designated to return from IR. It'll be interesting to see if we can get him back. And obviously, on the Packers side, it just all kind of depends on if Aaron Rodgers makes it back. Because if he doesn't, I still think A.J. Dillon's an interesting play. He's starting to get more work against this Seattle defense. I mean, if you're going to take advantage of them, taking advantage of their run defense is the place to start. So I could definitely see them running the ball a ton in this game as well, trying to keep Russell Wilson off the field. Seattle's not the most aggressive team of all time either. And so if they could, play the clock game with them, that might pay off to their advantage.
Yep. I will be playing AJ Dillon in a couple of leagues, so I hope he gets some work. Broncos versus Eagles. This one, all I'll say is don't panic on Jalen Hurts because he's just been an absolute lock fantasy stud for you. He's been in the top 10 quarterback every week except last week, I believe. So don't panic on him. Things will be fine. He gets you there, most of the time. And the Broncos don't terrify me, but it doesn't matter anyway. They played well against Dallas. Kept Dak in check. They got a few garbage.
They played excellent against Dallas.
Yeah.
They played a better game.
Right.
That's their
point taken. But garbage time is still a thing, and Hurts is the master at getting you points, and he goes to fuck off in the fourth quarter. Like he really is. His fantasy points of like first three quarters versus fourth quarter, with merits about his NFL caliber QB play aside, he usually gets you there. Don't panic. Play Jalen Hurts unless you've got like Tom Brady. But apart from Hurts is a very good quarterback option as usual.
Yeah. My take on this game is that I think Teddy Bridgewater is a sneaky starter in this one. Eagles have been terrible. Short, immediate passes. Fire up Jerry Jeudy.
Jerry Jeudy, baby.
Cortland Sutton's dead to me. I don't know what he's doing. Fire up Melvin Gordon, baby. All those Javonte Williams people out there. I hear them every day. No one talks about Melvin Gordon. He's still ho-hum, RB2, just getting it done.
He's doing it. You can play both of these guys. You can play both of them.
So I'm starting those guys, and I
was just going to say as well, send out a little trade deal for Melvin Gordon because it's still in people's minds that like, oh, Javonte, he had that big he had the big highlight run. Like, if you're in a dynasty contender, go out there and float a couple of third round picks. See if you can get Melgo on your team. It might not be enough to get it done, but open that conversation and see what you can do if you're a contender because Melgo is going to keep getting the carries. They want to run the football here. Raiders versus Kansas City. This is I don't know. I have no idea. You got to play everyone. You got to play in hope. Yeah. I will say this should be the week, like a bounce back week for Darren Waller, like tight end 1 overall sort of territory. Kansas City absolutely stinks against the tight end. He should be a target hog. And I think Hunter Renfrow is in play as well because for obvious reasons that don't really need to be discussed. He's awesome, but there's a lot of targets up for. Well, there's more targets up for grabs with that wide receiver room looking pretty thin there in Las Vegas.
Totally agree on that one.
Yeah, but you've got to play Hill. You're playing Kelsey. You're playing Mahomes, and hopefully it works out. Finally, last game.
Not last game. You forgot our team, Pats and Browns.
Oh, you're right. I glossed over that. So let's circle back. I missed that. I can't read my own show sheet here. Pats Browns. Is there a healthy running back? Could a healthy running back please stand up? We got Harris in the
Brandon
protocol.
Bolden, baby. Let's go.
Brandon Bolden on the wheel route, baby.
Why can't anyone guard Brandon Bolden?
Because he's elite. Yeah, Ramondre looked pretty good. I can't get a read on this current situation with these running backs. I think, if either of them are healthy, you're playing both of them, Harris or Stevenson. It becomes more of a problem if they're both declared healthy. You're riding with Harris, then Stevenson. I guess you don't feel great about it. But this is Dearness Johnson week, round 2. Let's go.
Yes. I spent a lot of money on Dearness Johnson.
Yes, me too.
Budget, so hopefully it's Dearness Johnson week again. The Patriots defense, obviously known for its lack of run defense. So I fully expect Bill Belichick to try to take away the run, because I don't think he has tons of respect for this passing game, nor should he. But that's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah, it's a great running game. Plug and play Dearness Johnson. If you've got him on your roster, you're absolutely playing him. And the Jacoby Myers touchdown watch continues. It's like waiting, in Anchorman when they're waiting for the baby panda to be born at the zoo. We're on Jacoby Myers touchdown watch. This is absolutely crazy. We're gonna get there eventually. Will it be this week? Who knows? But let's circle around now. This is the last game of the slate. 49ers versus Rams. Could be a good game here, but we're finally getting there. Brandon Ayuk it's slowly happening. I think you should feel okay about playing him this week. He had 2 weeks in a row where he got route participation over 90%, and he had over 22% of the targets as well. Moving him around a bit. Deebo Samuel's been on the injury report with a calf, so obviously a really tough matchup. But I do like the talent, and hopefully he can still return. He can get that wide receiver 2 numbers for you. You're obviously playing George Kittle, Elijah Mitchell. Pour one out for big bad Trey Sermon, you potential JaMychal Hasty game here if the Rams are able to score and move the ball.
Stay away from all the 49ers.
Stay away. It's pretty gross. It is pretty gross. But Ayuk is my guy. What are you looking for in this game?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're playing your Rams receivers. I'd still play all of them, even Van Jefferson this week, because I don't know how much Odell is actually going to play. Is he actually going to play this week?
I would doubt it. I doubt they dress him at this point.
Yeah, so it's pretty late in the week. It would be hard to – the game plan would already be in by now. So start your Rams receivers. I think this San Francisco defense is atrocious. They didn't show any heart last week. I think the Rams just take care of business in this one. My guy, Darrell Henderson, still doing work. And apparently Cam Akers is not ruled out of a return if they make it into the playoffs, right. Which Cam, baby, what are you doing? Just don't chill. You're doing too much. He's like, what? Henderson's almost an RB1. What? I gotta get back.
Give me running back underwater again, and let's heal this Achilles up. All right, man. Let's move on to our streams for the week. We've obviously missed a couple of weeks here. The last time we were out, week 7, you bested me. I don't even have on the show sheet who you picked back then. I don't know if you can recall off the top of your head, but all I know is I went with Darnold, and I got 3.48 points. So fuck that. There's no way whoever you picked was going to be better than that. So fuck me, right? So we missed weeks 8 and 9. I was just too out of it to even know what was going on, pick a streamer. But week 10, I've gone with Matt Ryan, who's now dropped under 50% ownership at Dallas. We talked about the takeaways in this game, but Dallas are giving up nearly 20 points per game to opposing quarterbacks. I think he has some sneaky upside this week in a potential for a high scoring game.
Yeah, I'm going Teddy Two Gloves.
Yay!
Eagles defense. I think he takes advantage of them. I think Denver rolls in this one. I think Teddy Two Gloves looks spectacular.
There we go. Moving on to the tight ends in week 7. I went back-to-back weeks of Ricky Seals-Jones. He got it done for me there, so I was able to win that in week 7. Couple of missed weeks, and then this week his name came up before. I'm playing him against the shitty Detroit Lions defense. I'm going with Pat Frymouth of the Pittsburgh Steelers. In the last 3 games, he's gone 7-7 and 6 targets. Obviously, he had his big blow-up game, 2 touchdowns last week. But more, I'm interested in the fact that he's gone double-digit fantasy points 3 weeks in a row, following those heavy target usage. Claypool's out. I think there's opportunity here for him to be like the third target in the passing game. Granted, it's not a great passing game, but it's a good matchup here against the Detroit Lions for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Corey, who is your tight end streamer of the week gonna be?
That's a great question, and I'm gonna go with just a random ass tight end, just because I think. Can
I interest you in some Dan Arnold, maybe?
I mean, Dan Arnold is a fine choice. I'm gonna go with Tyler Conklin.
Tyler Conklin, there we go. Plunged in.
You've tried Tyler before.
I've tried Tyler before. I've been hurt by Tyler before, but there you go. Corey's stream of the week. Let's see what Tyler Conklin can do. And with that, we are done for the week. Was there anything else you wanted to bring up?
No, not really. I just want to, I'm glad that you're back healthy.
Thanks, man. It's good to be back.
Yeah. And yeah, good luck to everyone this week, and hopefully you guys can get in the playoffs.
Yeah, keep working on that playoff push. I'm very proud of us. We have 2 weeks off. We're a little bit out of practice, but we came back. We've kept it under the hour mark. We've moved along quickly. I'm very proud of us. Remember to follow the Vault Studio on all the social medias. You can find Corey on Twitter at CMoney52. You can find myself at FF_Down_Under. But for JA, who's not here, for Corey and for myself, we will catch you next week. Peace.